Good afternoon. This is Pastor John. It is January 21st, and this past week I finally got access to our Durham Baptist Facebook page. And I've been thinking a lot lately about how I can maybe try to connect with our members and people in our community throughout the week. I know I get to see everyone on Sunday morning, and I do my best to see as many people as I can throughout the week, but I can't always see everyone. And I hope that maybe posting some of these videos will help us grow throughout the week, help us, get in the Word together, try to pursue God and grow closer in our relationship with Him. I know even sometimes we're not even able to get to church on a Sunday morning. Maybe we're sick, or maybe there's bad weather. This past couple of weeks, we've had the snowstorm come in. I was really excited to get back with everyone after canceling the week prior, and be able to get together and worship together and look at the life of Abraham. I also want to try to do a little bit something about remembering people we need to be in prayer for. This past week we prayed for Wayne Weed. He's a member of our community, not of our church, but in the Lewis County community. On Friday, he had double bypass surgery, heart surgery. And even just hearing that, it makes me kind of, wow, that must be rough. But I have not heard anything from him yet or about his condition. Last time I heard, he was still in the ICU, but I hope and pray now that it's Monday that he's been able to get out of ICU, and hopefully he's recovering. Also pray for Lorraine Pulse. I got to see her in the hospital this past week. She has pneumonia and has a struggle breathing. She has a breathing tube to her nose and mouth, helping her breathe. So keep her in your prayers. She was a longtime member of our church, and she just hasn't been able to get up the strength to come to church lately, and she really misses our community. So keep her in your prayers. Also want to lift up the Deaners, Harold and Joyce. They're still in recovery mode. I heard that if it wasn't for the snow, they would have made it to church Sunday, but keep them in your prayers either way. Also pray for the Powers family as they're taking care of Joanne, who's suffering from Alzheimer's. And I think sometimes we forget that it's not just on Sunday when we need to pray to God, and pray for people. We need to have our relationship with Christ continue throughout the rest of the week. Our walk with God cannot just happen on a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon. Our walk with God needs to be a life adventure, striving to pursue Him every day of our lives. And praying to God on a regular basis, that's really important. Knowing what to pray for, having, one thing that I do is I have a list of people I pray for. I usually take the bulletin and pray over everyone that's listed down there. I also have previous bulletins that I look at to see, maybe some prayer requests that weren't long-term prayer requests, but we just had prayed for that week. And I just try to really focus in on the needs of our community, and maybe that's something you can do as well. Also, praying through Scripture is another way that we can do that, just to really have a deeper walk with God. Also, if you didn't know, every week we give out a Bible reading challenge. I try to make it small and doable. Every week right now we're reading through the book of Psalms. This week we're on Psalms 11 through 15. I just got done reading it this morning. I try to do 5 chapters a week, so that's 1 chapter a day through every day of the week, and then we get together on Sunday, and you can have a skip day, is kind of my thinking behind it. But I strongly encourage you to read more than that, try to pursue God on a deeper level. And one of the chapters that really stood out to me this week is Psalms chapter 13. And the psalmist here is looking to God, and he's in distress. He's going through some difficult times, and he looks to God and he says, God, where are you? I do not feel you. It says here, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day long? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? I think this is where we often get in life when we're going through difficult times, whether it's financial struggles, whether it's health struggles. Maybe you're having a difficult time having a baby or having relationship struggles in your life, or maybe you have a family member who just isn't having the walk with God that you'd hope them to, and we're praying diligently and we're just not seeing God anywhere. Maybe you look around at the world and you see all the problems and say, God, why are you letting this happen? And we have to remember that God's not a magical genie in the air who is kind of sit up there with his hands crossed and he gives everyone three wishes and then he gives just grants them. That's not what God does. He allows us to have free will, and that free will is really important because that is what allows us to sin. That's what allows sin to be in the world. Either God could have created the world where we were required to follow him, where we didn't have a choice, or he created a world that we live in today where we can either choose to follow him or choose to reject him. And that's really difficult. But we also have to remember that maybe God doesn't meet all of our wants, but God definitely meets all of our needs. And I think a lot of times we get those two words confused, wants and needs. What is really a need? Do we have a need to make $100,000 a year? Do we have a need to have nice cars and nice things? Whenever I look at needs, I think of food, clothing, shelter, air. Sometimes we think, oh, God isn't around, God doesn't exist. But every time we breathe air into our lungs, every time we breathe, every time we feel the warmth of the sun, God is there. Hasn't forgotten us. God hasn't left us. I think of the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and it's talking about our needs and wants and our anxiety of the struggles going on. It says, look at the sparrows. They don't gather anything. They don't have storages of food, yet God takes care of them every day. They always have food. They always seem to survive. If God will take care of sparrows, how much more will he take care of you? Are you not more valuable than they? I paraphrase that, but I strongly encourage you to go read it. But God is watching. God is there. God is not left you. And I really love how the psalmist here, his next reaction, he says, God, I do not know where you are. But then verse 3, it says, consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Light up my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death, lest my enemies say, I have prevailed over him, lest my foes rejoice because I am shaken. He continues to pray for God's help, God's assistance. And then verse 5, he says, but I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. If we remember, he was just saying, God, I feel that you are gone. But then that verse 6, he says, I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. Despite him not feeling God there, he knows that God has protected him, God has cared for him, God will continue to care for him, and that is why he will continue to pursue the Lord. If we work to build our faith to God, if we are in the Word every day, if we are in prayer diligently, if we are gathered together with other believers, when our faith increases, we know that even if we do not feel God, he has not left us, he has not stopped caring for us. This is why Jesus Christ gave his son on the cross, because at that moment he took care of the sins of the world. He took care of the sins of you and I so that we could be saved, so that we could have salvation. Is there any greater act of caring for someone else than giving your life for them? I can't think of any. And that is what Jesus Christ has done for you. I hope you have a good rest of the week. I hope to be able to continue doing this throughout our weeks together. I hope to continue to try to encourage you to be in the Word, to encourage you to pursue God. I know this is going to help me because if I do this every week, that means I'm going to have to be in the Word as well. It's a good way for me to challenge you, but also I want you to challenge me as well. I need to be challenged to grow my faith just like we all do. I am no different than anybody else. Thank you for listening and have a great week.